And now to our interview portion, as promised, sustainable development. Now, a green economy is defined as low carbon, resource efficient and socially inclusive. In a green economy, growth in employment and income are driven by public and private investment into such economic activities, infrastructure and assets that allow reduced carbon emissions and pollution, enhanced energy and resource efficiency, and the prevention of the loss of biodiversity and ecosystem services. Where is Kenya in the journey towards achieving sustainable development? We speak to HERY, a sustainable development consultant who is already here with us in studio. HERY, thank you for making time for us this afternoon. Welcome to KBC Channel 1.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe the first question will be, HERY, how can we attract companies to invest towards green economy, especially here in Kenya?
Well, first of all, can I say, sipendi neno, I don't like the term sustainable development, because for me it has connotations of aid and someone needing help, and to me that's not it at all. This region of the world has so much to offer for the green economy. There's so much here to learn for Europe, for example, specifically in terms of sustainable business. And in order to attract business, well, it's already happening. Yes. There are so many examples just here in Nairobi, for example, of businesses that are light years ahead of what we have in other countries. So take Nikola Energy in Kibera, who are building hydroponics for years now. I've just met two ladies who have come up with an idea of how they can turn, and they are turning the waste from pineapple into clothing sustainably, right? This is all happening here right now. And so I think these companies are being noticed across the globe in some cases, and I think they are building good partnerships, and that's what they should be doing. They shouldn't just be looking for investors, which puts them in the hand of an investor, but be looking for partnerships, for business, to making business, export business to other countries. And I think you're very well placed in Kenya for that.
Just that example from that lady who's making clothes from even pineapple leaches. The question will be, is our government doing enough to support those kind of macro ventures?
It's a difficult one. So I don't think any government is doing enough in the world at the moment. I think it's in its infancy here in East Africa to support to have government support green initiatives, because they're still badly defined. But on the other hand, I also think you have a wonderful entrepreneurial culture. I think you have a lot of entrepreneurs who can actually attract investment just by themselves, just by creating great products that people want to buy. Pinekazi, the pineapple company, for example, they were sponsored, as I understand, by their university. Their university helped them accelerate. I don't think they ever had government funding, to be honest.
How can we leverage on that, given that you say we have an entrepreneurial background as a country? How can we leverage on that so that we can realize green economy and create green jobs in the country?
Yeah, I think all of us Africans, I'm originally from Madagascar, we have that entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, we're always selling and buying, right? We're always flipping things. So I think that framework, societal framework, is there. And I think to leverage it, we need to tell that story much better. There are still people, they come here for a bit from somewhere else to preach. It's us here who should be preaching to the rest of the world and showing what we have. We have those companies, but people don't know about them. So I think the story needs to be told. And of course, government, in my mind, plays a big role in bringing that story out.
As Kenyans are watching you right now, they might be asking, are there career opportunities in the green economy itself? What special requirements is required for one to even venture in this particular green economy?
So I think for young people especially, I mean, there are a lot of, if you're academically minded, the universities here, Mount Kenya University, Nazarene, Strathmore, the others, they have sustainability related degrees, which are of course helpful. But then other than that, I mean, what you need is you need to be what everyone else needs in any job. You need to be able to communicate well, you need some numeric skills, you're able to build business cases, because of course the green economy now is very reliant on us building credible business cases going forward, so that people believe in those, investors believe in those ventures without having to feel like it's something that's insecure, that's high risk. They are not. If you look at sustainable farming, for instance, Kenya is one of the most interesting countries in the world to me in that sense. And those sustainable farms are highly, highly profitable. And they're good for the society in which they are, they're good for the employees, and they're good for the people who actually eat the produce, which is organic.
Given that you've just mentioned some of the institutions of higher learning, do you think those institutions have done enough to inculcate green economy into their curriculum?
I don't think so yet. And if I may be just slightly critical, I think also when universities build accelerators, the turnaround time is way too long. Okay. So you'll take a year to make a decision that you want to have more about entrepreneurialism in your curriculum. Then you take another year to implement. Then you take another year. So you've lost 3 years. And young entrepreneurs think differently. Entrepreneurs think differently.
Yes.
They think about, what can I do in a year? You know, if I start today and I grind hard, what can I do? How can I change the world in a year? And who can help me? And so often they're already on a really good path when academia helps them, right? Because they've already gone. They're way ahead. They've got the product, they've got the service. And then they go and say, can I use the office or can I find a grant here? But university doesn't spark enough new ideas in my mind, isn't innovative enough in most cases.
Initially, you were talking about smart agriculture. How can we ensure that most of our youth, given that this generation, especially in the African continent, it's made up of the youth, and of course, they do not venture in matters to do with agriculture, what can be done to attract these youths to take up smart farming?
One word, data, right? So much of modern agriculture nowadays is data-driven, and I keep telling the sustainable farmers, collect the data. For the business cases, but also because it's much more interesting for young people to use modern dashboards, to use a tablet to monitor their crops and to monitor what's going on. It's for risk management, but it's also to show investors what's going on, right? So, for example, data around how many more days until you have yield, how many more days until you get money in. All of those things are heavily data-driven. They can be in modern dashboards. You can have them on your mobile phone. And I think those are things where, let's say, the older farming communities maybe struggle a little bit in applying those new technologies. But someone who's studied data engineering in a university will not at all. Or everyone in Nairobi who's using a mobile phone won't struggle at all.
At the backdrop of the ACS 2023, which was here in the capital, Nairobi, I don't know if you attended.
I came a little too late for that, unfortunately.
Yeah, the government was pushing for electrical motors. You saw what our own president was driving. We also saw the launch of the electro motorbikes. What will be the overall impact of this on or not just on the climate itself, but for a country that is venturing into green economy?
So I think in the whole region of East Africa, there are some things that would massively favor electric vehicles in some way. First of all, you have sun, so you can have solar power. If I go just across the border towards Arusha in Tanzania, all the roads are new, they're tarmacked, and the speeds that people drive at are slow, or the speed limit is low, which absolutely, in dry conditions, favors electric vehicles. And so one of the problems that, of course, every big city has, Dar, Nairobi, is pollution from cars. And it's a win-win if we're able to create an ecosystem around getting those old, very smelly cars that cause all kinds of health problems off the road. And I think Nairobi could be a hub for electric vehicles in Africa.
With the Nairobi Charter, I know you came in late to the ACS 2023, but I'm sure you read through what all the presidents and the head of states agreed. Do you think enough was said and done in this particular sector?
I think it's always difficult because those statements have to be sweeping and accommodating to absolutely everyone. Right? They have to serve a large base. I think green entrepreneurs will take heart from this direction. They will take heart from what they've heard. And as always, the entrepreneurs will make their own path. They'll make their own way. And what most entrepreneurs really want, I'm an entrepreneur myself, and what we want is a level playing field. We want to understand the rules, and we don't want them to change all the time. We don't want a tax to appear, then a tax to disappear. Right? We want things to be level so that we can build a roadmap against which we can execute a business plan.
In the East African nation, Kenya came in a little bit late when it comes to banning plastic bags in our country. You've just witnessed what we were walking through the streets. The black plastic bags and the ones that we normally use are no longer there. Do you think some of our companies have taken up the initiatives of creating bags that are suitable to the environment?
So I think this is a really, really tricky question. It's a really detailed question because we easily talk about plastic as being detrimental to the environment because it has a really bad end of life. But if we look at the whole life cycle, the carbon footprint of plastic, especially flexible or soft plastic packaging, is much, 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 much lower than glass or aluminium. Right? And if glass or aluminium metal ends up in the environment, that's not good either. But we don't see that so much. So plastic has an end of life problem. But the problem is if we ban plastics in all packaging applications completely, what we do is we increase the environmental harm in the short term until we have something that works, for instance, low carbon biodegradable packaging.
Okay.
On the other hand, Kenya, in my mind, Mombasa especially, has one of the most innovative waste collection systems in the world, simply because they have built a market. They've priced waste. So whatever you collect from the environment, you get paid something. An aluminium can is priced differently than plastic packaging, but there is a price on those, which means that people have an incentive to go and collect.
Okay.
And again, there's one more really exciting company. It's been around for a while. It's called Ocean Soul.
Okay.
It's from Mombasa, and they collect flip-flops and they turn them into objects of art.
Okay. Interesting. Just in 30 seconds, given that I'm told that we are out of time, unfortunately, we are run out of time. Thank you,
no problem.
thank you so much for making time for us. That is HERY, a sustainable development consultant. Of course, a wide conversing topic when it comes to the green economy. And as a country, are we ready to also create jobs in this particular sector? That marks the end of our bulletin this lovely afternoon. We're better keeping tabs on the President as well as King Charles III as the royal visit diary continues. My co-anchor has been Anwangeshi. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. Good afternoon for now.